Hello, my dear children. Welcome to the today's session, that is day 8. Day 8. So, let me recall the information once what we discussed in the previous class. So, here, children, in our previous video, we discussed about writ petitions, and moreover that with the discussion of writ petition, we are completed the complete concept regarding to our fundamental rights. So, in the first lesson of our syllabus, that is our constitution, majorly three important topics are there. One, what we discussed already, that is fundamental rights. After that, fundamental duties, and finally directive principles of state policy. Directive principles of state policy. Okay, so this is the class all about the fundamental duties as well as directive principles of a state policy. This is the last concept in our first lesson. First of all, let me recall the definition of fundamental right once. What is fundamental rights? Fundamental rights are the basic rights given by the constitution to the citizens. So if anything will happens to our fundamental right means we can, if anything will happens to our fundamental rights, we can protect our fundamental rights from the Supreme Court, that is judiciary. That is the reason why article number 32 is very important, and more importantly Supreme Court is known as the protector of fundamental rights. Okay, without any delay, let us move on to the today's session. So first of all, we will discuss about fundamental duties. Fundamental duties. So here, first of all, let me give the definition to you what is fundamental duties. Listen, fundamental duties we need to perform voluntarily. Fundamental duties we need to perform voluntarily. Fundamental rights are the basic rights, right? But fundamental duties we have to follow voluntarily. We can say that fundamental rights and duties are like a two faces of the same coin. Fundamental rights and duties, fundamental rights and duties are called two faces of the same coin. So without rights there is no duties, without duties there is no right. Children, this is the concept we adopted from, this is the concept we adopted from Russian constitution, means USSR, Russian constitution, United Soviet Socialistic Russia, Russian constitution. And these directive principles are, these fundamental duties are incorporated in our constitution as per 42nd amendment. 42nd amendment. Children, 42nd amendment takes place in the year 1976. 42nd amendment takes place in the year 1976. With 42nd amendment, these fundamental duties are incorporated in our constitution. Fourth chapter, listen it carefully. Fourth chapter, part A, class 51A. I hope you are very clear with this statement, children. See, listen carefully. This fundamental duties concept we adopted from USSR, means Russia, and these fundamental duties are incorporated in our constitution as per 42nd amendment, that is takes place in the year 1976. So in our constitution, part 3, that is deals about fundamental rights, and part 4 means chapter 4 part A, chapter 4 part A, class 51A, that is discussed, that will be giving description about fundamental duties. See children, fundamental duties are incorporated in our constitution based on Swaran Singh recommendations. Very important, you must remember this word. based upon Swaran Singh recommendations. It is a committee, Swaran Singh committee. Based upon the report given by this committee, fundamental duties are incorporated in our constitution. It is all about the introduction about fundamental duties. Listen, fundamental duties we need to perform voluntarily. Fundamental duties we need to perform voluntarily. And here this concept we borrowed from this concept we borrowed from the Russian constitution. This concept, fundamental duties, are incorporated as per 42nd amendment 1976, fourth chapter, part A, clause 51A. As per which committee recommendations? Swaran Singh recommendations. This will be added. Children, initially there are 10 fundamental duties. 10 fundamental duties. After that, based according to the 86th amendment, 86th amendment, according to the 86th amendment, 86th amendment in the year 2002. See, this concept we discussed in fundamental rights also, right? Right to education. So according to the 86th amendment takes place in the year 2002, 11th fundamental duty is added to the list. 11th fundamental duty is added. So children, now we have 11 fundamental duties. The last fundamental duty is very important. That is nothing but the guardian as well as parents are responsible to provide primary education to their children whose age is in between 6 to 14 years of age. So initially how many fundamental duties? 10 fundamental duties. After that, as per 86th amendment in the year 2002, 11th fundamental duty added to the list, that is right to education. So 6 to 14 year children, whoever it may be there, for them we have to provide, parents or guardian, they have to provide free and compulsory education. So children, this is all about the introduction of fundamental duties. Now let us check what are the important fundamental duties. Children, initially in the starting of this video I described fundamental duties we need to follow voluntarily. There is no pressure from the government. No authority will question you if you are not following your fundamental duties, but authority will punish you if you are violating the fundamental duties. Okay, first of all, let us see what are the important fundamental duties. So this is the concept map on fundamental duties. So here just pause the video and just observe this fundamental duties list. So all the 11 fundamental duties are incorporated, and also here we mention that article 51A or else clause 51A. So children, which part of the Indian Constitution? Fourth chapter part A. Fourth chapter part A. Article 51A, that is describing about fundamental duties. Okay, this is the concept map on fundamental duties. So now let us move on to the list, complete list. First of all, really if you are a citizen of India, then we must follow these fundamental duties. Why? Because means it is our responsibility. It is our responsibility. We are the citizens. How like you are enjoying your fundamental rights, in the same manner you must follow the fundamental duties. So now here the first fundamental duty, to respect our constitution. What is constitution? It is a fundamental law of a country, right? We must respect constitution, and we have to respect our national flag and the national anthem. That is the reason why in the assembly or wherever it may be, national anthem is going on at that time, we are paying a lot of attention to sing our national anthem. And also by seeing our national flag, we are feeling proud and we are giving most respect to our national flag. So the first fundamental duty, as a citizens of India, we must respect our constitution, national anthem, and national flag. Next fundamental duty, to follow the noble ideals that inspired our national struggle for freedom. Children, we know our country ruled by the Britishers for a long period of time. From India, most of the leaders sacrificed their life in order to get freedom to our nation. So, we have to take those personalities as inspiration. Example, you may take Jawaharlal Nehru, our first Prime Minister, and you can take Mahatma Gandhi ji, father of our nation, and you can take Balagangadhar Tilak, Sarojini Naidu. So whoever it may be, still most of the people are there. They sacrificed their life. So we have to respect them and we have to take those personality as a inspiration. Second one, to protect the integrity of India. What is integrity? Integrity is nothing but we are all one. We are all belongs to one. So we should not make any discrimination based upon the region. You are belongs to that area, I belongs to this area, and you are belongs to different regions in the country. Like that, we should not discriminate. So we have to promote a feeling that we are all belongs to one nation. That is known as integrity. Next, to defend the motherland when called upon to do so. Whenever our our presence is essential to protect our nation, at that time we must ready to sacrifice our life to the nation. Whenever it is required, at that time we should ready to do that task. Next, to promote the spirit of common brotherhood among all the people. See, common brotherhood means we have, that is also one of the part of integrity. So brotherhood means we're all like a brothers and sisters. In that manner, we have to promote a common brotherhood among all the minds. So you have to treat other people as a equal to you, like your brother or a sister. To preserve our rich heritage. Children, we know that India is a country having rich in history, correct or not? So from the history, we have lot of rich heritage like our culture, our monument, traditions, architecture. So we have to protect each and every heritage of our nation. We should not destroy any kind of things that is related to our country. Next, so this is a question to you. If you are a real citizen of India, then you must follow these duties. Next, so to protect and development. See, yesterday we celebrated World Environment Day, right? Yes or no? That is also one of the fundamental duty. See here, environment is very important to us. It is maintain ecological balance, right? Correct or not? So whatever the things we need, it may be like oxygen or whatever it may be. So those are all we are getting the resource from the forest only, right? So the forest cover environment we must protect. Is it clear or not? See, protecting environment is also one of the human right, including, see, we have to protect environment like forest, lakes, rivers, as well as wildlife. See, there is a bad incident happened that you may know, uh, right, in recently, in the last, I think in the past 3 days will happen. So in Kerala, there is a bad thing the human beings they have done for the elephant. So that is against to the fundamental duties. We have to protect the environment, lake, river, as well as wildlife. Next, to develop a scientific temper and spirit of inquiry. See, every day the technology is keep on changing. Today we are using one technology, and after that in the coming days that we are using another technology. So Indians has to update the new technology which is coming into use. Next, to safeguard public property. Public property means it may be a, like any kind of things, you can say that buildings, transportations, or whatever it may be, each and every property that belongs to the government, we have to protect. Because here in India is a democratic country. Government means we only. We are the people and we can equally treated with the government, right? So that public property means that is our property. So we have to protect our property. Next, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individuals and collective activities. Each and every individual, they have their own talent. We have to take the talent out and we have to recognize each and every individual talent. So, children, these are the 10 fundamental duties initially what we have in our fundamental duties. After that, I told you, right, what is the another fundamental duty as per 86th amendment in the year 2002. 86th amendment 2002, 11th fundamental duty is added. The 11th fundamental duty is nothing but the parents or guardians should provide opportunity education for the children's age of 6 to 14 years. This is a new fundamental duty added to the list. As per these fundamental duties, parents or guardian, they are responsible to provide education to the children whose age is 6 to 14 years. So children, these are the list of fundamental duties. So if you go through this chart, all the fundamental duties are covered that we discussed in a point wise. See here, we can check it once, right? So constitution and ideals we have to take, and protect sovereignty and defend our country, promote harmony and value of rich heritage, protect our environment, development a scientific temper, safeguard public property, towards strive towards excellency, and this is 86th amendment provide opportunity for the education. So all the fundamental duties are added here. Now, without any delay, let us move on to the conclusion of fundamental duties. Listen, I told you fundamental duties we have to follow voluntarily. Fundamental rights are the basic rights that we are following anyway. Listen carefully. If anything will happens to our fundamental rights, we can our fundamental rights are protected by the Supreme Court. That what we discussed in the previous class, writ petitions and all we discussed, right? But fundamental duties are not protected by the any court of law. But if any of the citizen is violating fundamental duties, they will punish under law. I hope you are clear with the statement, right? Fundamental duties are not protected by the any court of law like fundamental rights. But if anyone will be violates these fundamental duties, they are severely punished under law. So duties and rights are not separable, they are collectively very important. So children, how we are using our fundamental rights, in the same manner we have to perform our duties, fundamental duties, voluntarily. Why? Because means that is our responsibility as a citizen of India. So if you are a real citizen of India, you have to follow all these fundamental duties. So this is all about fundamental duties. So children, so children, here it is the next concept, that is directive principles of state policy. Okay, let me give one small statement about directive principles of state policy. Fundamental rights means what? Basic rights given by the constitution. To whom it is given? To the citizens. Okay, what about fundamental duties? Fundamental duties are the basic duties performed by the citizens. Now here, directive principles of state policy, these are the guidelines given by the constitution to the government, not for the citizens. I hope you are clear with this differentiation. Directive principles of state policy given by the constitution to the government. So while the government will doing administration, they must keep these directive principles of state policy. But here the government may perform, the government may not perform. Here also, no authority have the right to question the government if they are not following directive principles of state policy. So no authority have the right to question the government. The government may follow this one, or the government may not follow directive principles of state policy. Okay, why directive principles of state policy? What is the need? Why it will be, why it is incorporated? So here, to make the major aim of these directive principles of state policy to establish welfare state. Welfare means what? Welfare to all people. Welfare to all people. That welfare means what? The good things, providing all the things needed for the poor people. Due to that reason only, directive principles of state policy incorporated. So listen, fundamental rights we are borrowed from American Constitution, fundamental duties we are borrowed from Russian Constitution, and the directive principles of state policy we borrowed from Ireland Constitution. Very very important, Ireland, Irish Constitution. So from Ireland Constitution we borrowed this concept, directive principles of state policy. Okay, so my dear children, so here I told you, right, no court of law have the right to question the government. The government may follow, may not follow. So now just look at this chart once. So complete information related to introduction of directive principles I have mentioned here. Directive principles of state policy incorporated in our constitution in the part 4. See, fundamental rights part 3, fundamental duties chapter 4a, chapter 4a, fourth chapter a. Directive principles of state policy part 4 of the Indian constitution that deals with directive principles of state policy. So what about articles? Article number 36 to 51 in our constitution, article 36 to 51, that is describing about directive principles of state policy. Children, directive principles of state policy are classified into three. One will be socialistic principles, Gandhian principles, and liberal principles. Directive principles of state policy classified into how many principles, children? Three. One is socialistic principles, Gandhian principles, as well as liberal principles. Again I will repeat the key points of the introduction about directive principles of state policy. Listen, the major aim directive principles are incorporated means in order to establish welfare state. This concept we borrowed from Ireland Constitution. In our constitution, part 4, article number 36 to 51, article number 36 to 51, describing about directive principles of state policy. These directive principles are classified into three. One is socialistic principles, Gandhian principles, as well as liberal principles. Children, this introduction is very very important. See here, directive principles are the guidelines given to the government, not to the citizens. So while the government doing administration, they have to keep these directive principles in their mind, but they may follow or they may not follow. No court of law having the right to question the government whether they are following or not. These guidelines to whom? These guidelines to the government. Okay, these are the slides, children, explaining to you about the different directive principles of state policy. First one, to provide adequate means of livelihood. Adequate means what? Sufficient. What are the things are needed to the people, the government has to provide. This will becomes under socialistic principle. Okay, means whatever the things are needed for the people, the government must provide everything. The second one, to prevent the community wealth and resource and become the private property of the few people. In India, more rich people are there and more poor people also there. Is it clear? Means what? The income in India not distributing equally. So the government has to distribute the income equally to the all the people. This is also known as, this is also comes as socialistic principle, and to provide equal pay for equal work. Children, if you just observe any kind of workplace, if the men and women both are engaging in a same work, but they provided more wage to the men and less wage to the women, is it clear or not? That should be avoided. Equal pay should provide for equal work. Next, to provide public assistance to old people, sick people and weak people in the society. Some old people are there, sick means health condition was not good, and weak people. So, and moreover that we can say that orphans are there, for them government provide some facilities. And moreover, to implement a uniform civil code. Uniform civil code means rules and regulations of the government. So this is one of the important thing to promote integrity of the nations. So here, all over India, there must be same rules and regulations. Of course, state governments will follow different rules and regulations, but from the central government, rules and regulations must be same. Next, development of health and preschool education. So, whoever the children whose age is below 6 years, their health and education must provide. Okay, to provide, to protect our historical monuments. Historical monument means, I told you, right, lot of architecture is there in India that is coming from the historical background. Example Taj Mahal is there, Charminar is there, Golconda Fort is there. In Karnataka, Gol Gumbaz is there, Ibrahim Roza is there, Darya Daulat is there. These are the historical monuments. Each and every monument we must protect. Next, we have to separate executive from judiciary. So here, how many organs are there, children? There are three organs, right? One is legislature, executive, judiciary. Here, one of the directive principles to the one of the directive principles to the government, there should not be any link between executive and judiciary. Executive means your government. Judiciary means the Supreme Court and High Court. Both should be separate. And to protect international peace and respect. Children, India is one of the important membering nation of UNO, United Nation Organization. The major aim of UNO is establishing peace. In the same manner, our country major aim also will be international peace. And finally, and we can say that to establish Grama Panchayat. See, if any problem will arise in one rural area, the central government may look after it or may not look after it. Because India is a huge country, right? More number of villages are there. So there must be one authority in every village to look after that village. That concept we can call it as a decentralization. Decentralization. There must be one authority to look after their village in the village level. That is nothing but Grama Panchayat. So establishing Grama Panchayat. This is comes under Gandhian Gandhian principle. Gandhian principle. I told you, right, how many principles are there? Three principles are there: socialistic principles, Gandhian principles, and liberal principles. Establishing Gram Panchayat, that is comes under Gandhian principles. Next, to encourage cottage industries. Children, in India, unemployment is more. The people unable to get work, unemployment is more. Correct or not? So, uh, the government has to develop a cottage industries. Unemployment majorly we are observing in rural areas. Why? Because means in rural areas the major occupation of the people is agriculture. Already we know what kind of problems are there in agriculture sector, right? Our agriculture is completely depending upon the rains. Sometimes rain may come or rain may not come. That is the reason why the government has to look after the alternative in the village level, that is cottage industries. So if the government is developing cottage industries in the rural areas, the people who are becoming unemployed in the agriculture, they will go and work in the cottage industries. And to organize the development of agriculture and animal husbandry. Development of agriculture, that is also one of the important direct principle. Agriculture is our traditional occupation. From the history it will be coming, right, from the last, whenever the civilization is started in India, at that time, from their time to agriculture is there, and the government has to develop agriculture as well as animal husbandry. So next, to ensure the prohibition of liquor. Children, is it a possible task to do? It is impossible, but no government will do this one because most of the income generated to the government through the liquor itself means. So prohibition of liquor, this is also comes under Gandhian principle. So prohibition of liquor, this is also one of the guideline to the government. Next, finally, to ensure the development of agriculture based on the scientific methods. See, in India the major occupation is agriculture, but agriculture production is less. Do you know what is the reason behind it? In India still the farmers are following traditional techniques of farming. So whenever we are going to adopt a new technology in the agriculture, compulsory that production of agriculture will increase automatically. So new way of farming we have to be adopt. So so far we discussed the different directive principles of state policy, each and every point. So here it is a conclusion of today topic, children. Today topic we discussed fundamental duties and directive principles of state policy. So the fundamental rights are related to individuals, fundamental duties also related to uh, fundamental duties related to the individuals, but directive principles of state policy related to the government. So if the government are ready to follow this directive principles of state policy, that will be leads to the holistic development of a India. Holistic means overall development of a country. That is the reason why the constitution will be suggesting every government to follow these directive principles of state policy in their administration. So this is all about the directive principles of state policy. So children, so today class we discussed fundamental duties, and after that how many fundamental duties we discussed? 11 fundamental duties. So fundamental duties are incorporated as per 42nd amendment in the year 1976 based on Swaran Singh recommendations. In our constitution, chapter 4a, clause 51a, that is describing about fundamental duties. This concept we adopted from Russian constitution. And after that, directive principles of state policy. So this is incorporated in our constitution in the part 4, article number 36 to 51. So directive principles of state policy we are borrowed from the Ireland constitution. So my dear children, this is the end of today's session, day 8, and also this is the end of the first lesson in our syllabus, that is our constitution. So when the classes will commence, I will give complete notes related to the first lesson, our constitution. In meanwhile, all the students are advised to follow the key points by following the regular classes. Whatever we are teaching in this one, we have to follow the key points in a proper way, and you have to refer again and again. And the group subjects like science, social and mathematics, we should practice. Okay, so this is the end of today class. Thank you children, have a nice day.